It's top of the world. White Heat is top of the world. It's one of the best gangster films ever made.
You won't get away with it, Cody.
You've got a good memory for names. Too good. To me, you're just a face and a number. Let's keep it that way for now. When I want your help, I'll ask for it.
Have it your way, Cody.
I often show White Heat in my classes.
I'll give it a layer.
It blows the students away.
The power of Public Enemy is then reflected in White Heat. Years later, 20 years later. The psychosis that begins with Tom Powers comes to fruition with Cody Jarrett.
And I think Cagney's portrayal of Tom Powers and the protagonist in Roaring Twenties is as interesting as his Cody Jarrett. But I think what works in White Heat are the extreme characterizations, not just Cagney's, but Steve Cochran and Virginia Mayo, all come together in this sort of furiously paced noir melodrama.
This thing has got tight, mean, psychotic, and a kind of real heavy film noir, true film noir.
Cagney, by the end of the 1930s, was able to choose his own roles. He had fought Warner Brothers, and they had reconciled, and then he'd come back, and Angels with Dirty Faces was sort of the first great film of the second Cagney era at Warner Brothers.
Cagney, by that point, again, 1939, he took in 8 years of making tough guy roles and that sort of thing, and I think by that point he didn't want to do it anymore.
2 for 1.
He had the possibility to opt out of his Warner Brothers contract, which he did after Yankee Doodle Dandy in 1942.
After Cagney won the Oscar as George M. Cohan, he, again, like he did from the very beginning, walked out.
He thought the whole studio was very unwise in the way they withheld money. And he said, I'll never go back there again.
And he formed a production company with his brother, William Cagney. They were going to release so many films they had on the docket. They got this Pulitzer Prize-winning, New York Drama Critics Award-winning play of 1940 by William Saroyan, The Time of Your Life. Here they have this man, practically in the whole film, sitting down at a table in this cafe. It makes no sense. No wonder it bombed. Well, thank God he went back to Warner Brothers and signed a lucrative contract.
He could choose his story. He could rewrite the script to his heart's content. He could also get a percentage of the royalties from the reruns of his old movies, which are now just beginning to be sold to television. So it was a very sweet deal.
In his third stage of his career there, White Heat was the first film. Obviously, it was a calculation on everybody's part that they were going to return Cagney to the Warner Brothers fold in a gangster film.
One of the great lines that went with that film at the time, I remember, is, all Cagney breaks loose. And Warner Brothers issued this 4-page memorandum to all of the newspapers that Jimmy Cagney is back where he belongs, doing what he belongs, or doing what he should be doing, what he does best, his gangster role.
It's hard to think of anybody else doing this film, doing White Heat, and creating the kind of characterization that he did. What actor would do that kind of wild improvisation? There's no one but Cagney could have done that film. White Heat is an extraordinary film because in that one film, James Cagney takes elements from all his previous portrayals in the gangster film and the crime film, and in comedies, biographies, everything he'd done, and stirs them all into one amazing characterization that, at the same time, is nothing like his earlier films.
What's the matter, Parker? I ain't going to do anything. Not now. I'm going to let you stay awake nights and sweat it out. And then when I get ready, good and ready, I'll pay you back.
It's just a pleasure, a joy to watch him on the screen. There's something so kinetic about Cagney. So something from the beginning, this tremendous energy that he had, the madness and the sentiment, the feeling.
The director, Raoul Walsh, really understood Cagney's abilities as an actor, and later on especially would let him improvise because he could always do such good business.
I think the story goes that Cagney said, if we're going to do this thing, what can we do it differently? And he said, let's play him really screwy. Let's really make him crazy.
He wanted to create a new gangster, a new type of gangster. He saw this character, Cody Jarrett, and he said, I'm going to make him into an absolute psychopath.
They think they've got Cody Jarrett. They haven't got Cody Jarrett. Yeah, they haven't got him. And I want to show you, they haven't got him. Come on, come with me.
When he riddles Big Ed full of bullets, he doesn't say anything. There's a glee. There's a pride. He just points to it. There's a sense of triumph. He enjoys this. Cagney, as all good actors do, brought a lot from his own life. You have to. If you're going to be authentic on the screen, believable on the screen, you have to use the structures and materials from your own life.
That scream, or whatever you call it, that wail that came up from the very depths of him, it made you feel like somebody was putting, white-hot needles under his fingernails. Part of that, he used to say, years afterwards, came from a visit that he made as a boy to an insane asylum on Ward's Island. That scene, by the way, was kept very secret from almost everybody on the set, what was going to happen. The extras had no idea what was going to happen. There were 300 people in that room when they shot that. There is genuine shock on their faces. Even today, it's shocking and takes your breath away. Nobody's quite sure what was wrong with Cody Jarrett, by the way. We're divided as film critics or scholars or whatever we are when we look at that film. Some think he suffered from migraine headaches. Others think he was an epileptic. And there are sort of hints of both.
When he was a kid, he used to fake headaches in order to get his mother's attention away from the rest of the family. It worked. As he grew up, the fancied headaches became real until now they tear him to pieces.
If you take the fact that his relationship to his mother has twisted his life, I think you're taking the easy answer, that Cody Jarrett is a more complex character. Because the real fundamental betrayal that infuriates them, if you will, is the fact